Okay, let's begin. It hopefully is loud enough. I'm pretty close to the mobile. Anyway, this is well, let's get the introductions first. And of course you can see church history. Here we go. This is something I printed out. Yeah, okay, let's see if it works here. In her well-documented book entitled Billy Graham and His Friends, Dr. Kathy Burns wrote the following concerning the well-known evangelist Billy Graham. Not only does Graham not attack the falseness in the Catholic Church, but he even protects the wrong. For instance, around 1961, Billy Graham bought the rights to Halley's Pocket Bible book. The original Halley's up until the 22nd edition, 1959, warned about the Jesuits. There are chapters about the Roman papacy and the Jesuits according to, there are chapters about the Roman papacy and the Jesuits. And punctum, how do you say punctum? Well, anyway, stop, a dot. According to Mrs. Halley, Mr. Halley spent years working on those chapters and never would have permitted the book to be changed. However, when he died, Billy Graham bought the rights and removed all the research and warning about the Jesuits in the edition Billy Graham printed. So he removed all the research and warning about the Jesuits in the first edition Billy Graham printed. Billy Graham and His Friends, 2001, by Dr. Kathy Burns, published by Sharing. And then, former papist. This is a guy that is a former papist. I went online to see if I could get a hold of a copy of Billy Graham edition, which Kathy Burns had mentioned in her book. I found the book online, Billy Graham Crusades edition 1962, and purchased it at an excellent price, just to see if what she wrote about was true. I already owned a hardcover copy of Halley's Handbook, which contains the information about Rome. And I compared that book with the Billy Graham edition, and sure enough, the whole section on church history was missing. All of the information on papal persecutions and the history of the popes was nowhere to be found. It was as if those pages never existed in that handbook. So that was the introduction on that. So one of my brothers from the US, Brad Norman, pretty much found this book to me pretty quickly afterwards when we talked about it. And so I ordered it, and here I got it, didn't get any toll or anything from, sometimes there's when you get something from the US, there's a huge amount of toll, but maybe they didn't know what to actually, anyway, this is the front page of I'm not sure what these things are called, when you, I would think that usually you just throw them away, but, it was $3.75, apparently, but it has, some outer information. Usually I would think you would throw this away, it's just front. I'm still not sure what these things are for, but it's outside the book, but Halley's Bible Handbook and abbreviated Bible commentary, amazing archaeological discoveries, how we got the Bible, and epitome of church history, select Bible verses. Now I put this setup, but you can't see the setup where my mobile is now pointed, but I try to, have some bottles with water in them and some weight for stabilizing, so the camera is hopefully, so I should be able, I've tested it, I should be able to go like this without pushing the bottles away and all that, hopefully. So you can, look and see things as we go, as I read it. I'll try to see how that goes. I have some light in my face directly, which is pretty annoying actually. But you know, it's dark outside. But anyway, I got the 22nd edition, revised, copyright 1959 by Henry H. Halley. And then you can see first edition, second edition, and from 1924 until 1960. And apparently Billy Graham buys the copyright for the book. You know, copyright is of the devil, as I always say, in some sense, you know. Because if you have copyright on something, you know, maybe someone will buy the copyrights for it and then change the things that is in it. Anyway, it's there's a pretty extensive of things in it, you know, the content. It's like nearly 1,000 pages, and this, I guess it actually has become bigger in the let's see if I can zoom a little out. So, oh yeah, let's see, zoom out so you can see a little more. And okay, we have the zoom button here. Okay, that's a new thing in regards of the update. Anyway, I've not seen that. Anyways, as you can see, archaeological notes and forward, you know, you have list of maps, Deuteronomy, all the Bible books in regards of a little thing in regards of those. And sadly, it seems he's still promoting Sunday. But anyway, which is not the 7th day. Saturday is the 7th day. And if we want to be totally correct, it's from Friday sundown to Saturday sundown. So anyway, and I think we're in the first day today, if I'm correct, you know, the Sunday, which is the so-called day for the venerated sun god Sol Invictus, or the false god. You know, all the things. Anyway, let's get to it. So the history was in there, so that was very interesting, and I'll see if we can get going. See here we go, modern translation, there we go. And I'll zoom in again, see if I can do that without, there we go, and you can look along. I would have liked to actually just read from the paper, now looking down, but I have to follow along on the mobile, I guess, to see that I'm not, at least I need to follow along. Maybe I can, okay, here we have until here, and then I need to probably go, you know, follow it down. Okay, so okay, let's go, and it's pretty much in, yeah, we can go there at least for now. So this is church history on page 864, and let's just go a little long, or you know, take some pages at least. Church history. The Bible contains the story of Christ. The church exists to tell the story of Christ. Church history is a continuation of Bible history. To show our connection with the Bible history and believing that church people ought to be familiar with at least the elementary facts of church history, we give here a brief outline of its main features, events, and persons. It is impossible to understand the present condition of Christendom except in the light of history. But alas, ignorance of church history is more widespread even than ignorance of the Bible. We believe it is the duty of the ministers to teach the people the facts of history. And of course, in regards to who the Antichrist is and all that, we don't know anything about that either in our days. Even if Luther wrote the book, against the papacy, an institution of what was it called? 2 seconds. What is it? There we go. Just a little outside thing. But even if this was his last book, against the papacy and institution, against the Roman papacy and institution of the devil, which was at least, if not his last book, it was very close to being one of his last books, so that's pretty much the title of the book. In regards of Luther, he starts out in regards to the most hellish father. So that's pretty much starts the book. You can, it's on the internet. If you just search on the title, I know Jörg has made a video on that, and reading the whole book, and Tom Frisco or something like that has done it as well. Anyway, let's get back to the book. This book here. So, in regards to church history, we don't know much in our days. Apparently, we have been sleeping, and some, people have not taught us the truth, which is very sad because we went to school, didn't we? Anyway, world history is taught of in 3 periods. Ancient Egypt, Assyria, Babylon, Persia, Greece, and Rome. Medieval, from fall of Rome to discovery of America. Modern, from the 15th century to present time. Okay, so he divides it in 3 periods, apparently. Let's see here. Church history is taught of in 3 periods. Roman Empire period, persecution, martyrs, church fathers, controversies, Christianization of the Roman Empire. And of course, in regards of martyrs, that is the book in regards, what is it called? Fox's Books of Martyrs. Fox's Books of Martyrs, which have been a very popular book, it seems, in regards of Protestants who protested the Antichrist and the whore, which is the great city of Rome, who rules over the kings of the earth. Anyway, let's get on in regards of the little horn and, persecuting the saints, and the saints are those keeping, guarding, protecting the commandments of Jehovah and the testimony of Yeshua, the Messiah. So anyway, as you see here, we have medieval period, growth and power of the papacy, the Inquisition, the so-called Holy Inquisition, everything in regards of, the Holy Roman Empire and all that. In regards of everything in regards of this so-called Holy Roman Empire is apparently holy, Holy might this and holy might that. And, monasticism, Mohammedanism, so they use the good old English and Danish word for Mohammedanism, not Islam or anything like that. Mohammedanism. Why? Well, because they follow Muhammad, a false prophet, which had sex with a 9-year young girl when he was 54 years old. And of course, the Mohammedans reject that Jesus is God in flesh, or the Son of God. They reject his execution, and of course thereby also reject his resurrection. So that's 3 Christian pillars. So, if you're a Mohammedan listening into this, you have been deceived. You need to you need to find out who Jesus actually is. He was not only a prophet, he was so much more. He was Jehovah in the flesh, the Word that was God and was with God, and the Word was made flesh. That was anyway. So Mohammedanism, the Crusades, and of course the Crusades was instigated by the Antichrist in regards of Rome. So, the political game the Antichrist plays and all that. I just read a Danish book in regards of how from Luther, where you see the political game in history, a short book, I think it was 40 pages or something like that, in regards of how the, Pope or Antichrist fixes his, political game. Anyway, so we have Modern period, Protestant Reformation, great growth of the Protestant Church, wide circulation of open Bible, because Rome didn't want Bibles around and they killed people that had them in their own language. And, the Christians. She persecuted the saints. Anyway, wide circulation of open Bible, growing freedom of civil governments from church and priestly control, worldwide missions, social reform, and growing brotherhood. Okay, so we have the great divisions of Christendom. Protestants prevailing in West Europe and North America. Oh, I'm not sure. Did I put it too far up? I think I did. Anyway, pretty much you can see everything here if I just keep it here and my fingers away here. So, Protestants prevailing in West Europe and North America. Roman Catholic, that's Romanism, prevailing in South Europe and South America. And, it's just very sad. Anyway, Greek Catholic, prevailing in East and Southeast Europe. These are the result of two great clavatures in the church. I think it's clavitures? Yeah, clavature. It would be nice to check it out. Do I have... it's really sad to actually write in the book. Maybe I can just write it here. Clavatures. Anyway, clavatures in the church. One in the 9th century, when the Eastern Church separated itself from the Western Church, because of the so-called Pope, the Antichrist, insistence that he was the Lord of the whole church. Well, he does not only set himself up as the Lord of the whole church, he sets himself as king and ruler over the whole entire world, both in political matters and spiritual. Political, temporal, civil powers, and the spiritual, powers as well. He sets himself as head, and of course Satan has given him his seat. So, the dominion and authority and, so let's just go further here. The other in the 16th century over the same cause under the leadership of Martin Luther, greatest man of modern history. I don't know, but he still had some issues. But anyway, he was just taking the thing in regards to the Antichrist. He did really open up. But there was also others. It was not only Luther. There was others, and there was some conflicts in Wittenberg, where Luther came back and sadly seemed to actually go back to Catholic doctrines instead of moving forward. But anyway, they were coming out of the dark period. So it was different times in some sense. They were coming out and restudying the Word of God and trying to begin to take rope from Satan, So they all had their, we all have our issues, so, but there was some things that was really, really, I think, really bad in regards of, it's really, there's a lot of things I still don't understand. But one thing that I can absolutely agree in regards to Martin Luther is the institution of Rome, which is, as he says in his book, as we saw, against the Roman papacy, an institution of the devil. And he has like 100 pages nearly of, something like that, against this institution. Really wonderful. Just, it's a little, he has some vulgar words and all that, but I'll rather have someone just tell me how it is instead of just these slickery, these slick preachers in our days that doesn't talk about who the Antichrist is. Luther is pretty upfront on that. There's no doubt who he believes is the Antichrist. And, anyway, let's get back here. So we have, leadership of Martin Luther, greatest man of modern history. Harnack said the Greek church is primitive Christianity plus plus Greek and Oriental paganism. Oh, I'm not sure who Hanek is, but Hanak said the Greek church is primitive Christianity plus Greek and Oriental paganism. Wouldn't surprise me, but the Roman churches, have their own ish. Hvad jeg sige? The Roman Catholic Church is primitive Christianity plus Greek and Roman paganism. Oh. So we see at least I can agree that there is problems on both sides. Are we talking also in regards of Greek Catholics? Are we talking about the Orthodox? Yeah, I'm not sure we're talking about, but Orthodox has issues as well. I would think that the Greek would be Orthodox, but they don't really say if it's Orthodox or not. Any case, I see there was a schism, right? In regards, these are the results of two great clavictures in the church. One in the 9th century when the Eastern Church separated itself from the Western Church because of the Pope's insistence that he was Lord of the whole church. Now, it doesn't really say if it's actually, it does. The Greek Catholic prevailing East and in Southeast Europe. Well, is that the Orthodox, or is that just some kind of Catholic? I have no idea. I thought it was just maybe there's Orthodox as well. But in any case, let's see here. Maybe there's one group more that there's different groups, of course. So anyway, the Greek Church is primitive Christianity plus Greek and Oriental paganism. And Oriental, as I understand it, the word is from the Middle East, The Roman Catholic Church is primitive Christianity plus Greek and Roman paganism. The Protestant Church is an effort to restore primitive Christianity free from all paganism. Yep. Sadly, we still have, after 500 years, a lot of issues. Like Sunday, we have Christmas, we have Easter, we have Halloween, and many other days, and following a sun calendar from the Antichrist. And we have New Year as well. That's a pagan tradition as well. I just read about it today. Apparently it goes back to Babylon. Apparently they had this, I was looking at in regards to the Assyrians. Sadly, the webpage had been taken down, so I just saw a snapshot of it. And there was some interesting information and some customs by some guy that made customs in regards to the Assyrian clothing from 3,500. And there was some interesting paganism on some of these clothes, for sure, and some information overall. But anyway, so we still have a lot of things, the church, and actually the sad thing is that the Protestant churches is now running back to the Antichrist. And the so-called Protestants don't know who the Antichrist is anymore. Isn't that funny? Well, it's not funny, actually. It's very sad. It's very sad, very, very sad. So yeah, the Protestant church is an effort to restore primitive Christianity free from all paganism. Yep. And again, sadly, I think Luther made a mistake when he came back. He made, big mistakes, I think. And Karlstadt had to, sadly go. But I'm still looking into what was going on. But, it seems like Luther still had some Catholic leaven working in him. And, yeah. But again, we can look back and we can still correct the things in our, they didn't fix something in the past doesn't mean we cannot fix it in our days, If the more rope that we can take from Satan, the devil, the better, the harder he has it in regards of deceiving us. So let's see here. We have the Roman Empire. The church was founded in the Roman Empire. Rome was founded 753 BC, subdued Italy 343 to 272 BC. And in regards of the church was founded in the Roman Empire, we have to remember the mother, when the Catholic Church says she is the mother church, well, she might be the mother whore, but in regards to the mother church would be the church in Jerusalem, right? Because that's where it all began. and they weren't Jews mostly. You know, they were Nazarenes. Seems like some of the Greeks, which would have been non-Jews, seems to have but still something. But it seems like they actually were joining up with the Nazarenes in the beginning as well. Some say these Greeks are Jews, but one of the newer translations, point out, oh, this is actually Greek Jews. I don't think it is. I think this seems to be non-Jews, these Greeks. Any case, going back to, and then why wouldn't it be, people coming to Jerusalem to, sellers for Jehovah, and coming up to Jerusalem and all that? Why wouldn't you join the Nazarenes, when you find out that Jesus had come and died and all that, or Yeshua? Anyway, let's see here. Rome was founded 753 BC, subdued Italy 343 to 272 BC. Subdued Carthage 264 to 146 BC, and Carthage, I think, was, you have the, what is it called, the Middle Sea, what is it called, and it's just south here, and I think they were, in regards to the battle of the guy with the elephants, what was he called? Oh, can't remember his name. I know it, but I can't remember it at the moment. But anyway, they had the cities, we had the middle, what is it called, this middle? Do we have 2 seconds if I have a map here? What is it called? Mediterranean Sea. Okay, if you have the Mediterranean Sea, it's just down here. Rome is up here, and you have it down here. There's probably maps in the book as well. But, so it's south anyway. So they had a battle in regards of those. Oh, what was it called? Oh, no, still can't remember. It's just in the shadow in some sense. Okay. So subdued Greece and Asia Minor 215 to 146 BC. They have some, the Greek beast was still, still they still had the kingdoms, but Rome was beginning to take over, the Greek beast. The Greek beast is like 4 heads, 4 empires and all that. And little by little, Rome began to take these kingdoms. Subdued Spain, Gaul, Britain, and Teutons, 133 to 31 BC. And of course, we are nearing in regards of Jesus at that point. Let's see here. Senate of Roman power, 46 BC to 180 AD. Okay, Senate. I'm not sure what Senate actually means. Senate. There we go. Just writing it down here. Extended from the Atlantic to the Euphrates and from the North Sea to the African desert. Population 120 million. And then we have Julius Caesar, 46 to 44 BC, Lord of the Roman world. Then we have Augustus, 31 BC to 40 AD. In his reign, Christ was born. Okay, that should be correct, yeah. Tiberius, 12 to 37 AD. In his reign, Christ was crucified. That would be correct, yep. Caligula, 37 to 41 AD. Claudius, 41 to 54 AD. Okay. Now we have Nero, 54 to 68 AD. Persecuted Christians, executed Paul. Okay. I guess that is the traditions that says that or something like that. But anyway. Galba, 68 to 69 AD. Otto Vitellius, 69 AD. Vespasian, 69 to 79 AD, destroyed Jerusalem. Okay, yeah, okay. I guess fulfilling prophecy in regards of destroying Jerusalem. And the temple, Didn't Jerusalem continue? It was just the temple that got destroyed, wasn't it? Or maybe it was the all the things. But anyway, Titus 79 to 81 AD. Domitian 81 to 96 AD. Persecuted Christians. Banished John. I'm not so sure that was the time of, in regards to the book of Revelation, we have sources that might actually put the book of Revelation, what is it called? Further, closer to, what was it, 60 AD or something like that. So he actually might have been in this place in regards of Nero, in regards of persecuted Christians. So there are some different sources on it, that this was not, but anyway, there's some different information on that for sure. But here he goes to say banished John, that would be the Apostle John. But again, I'm not so sure that is actually the true information. It might have been earlier, that was the right word, earlier, that this happened. And probably in regards of the times of Nero, probably, according to the information that I've looked at. But anyway, there's different information on it and all of that. Anyway, Hadrian 117 to 138 AD, persecuted Christians. Antoninus Pius 138 to 161 AD, persecuted Christians. Marcus Aurelius 161 to 180 AD, persecuted Christians. And as I understand it, even if you take the whole of the Roman Empire in regards to persecution of Christians, it, as I understand it, was nothing compared when the so-called Holy Roman Empire took control. It was a slaughterhouse, as I understand it. But in any case, I'm still, still looking for more information about the 4th century after Constantine and all that. There seems to be a good slaughter of Christians in the 4th century. And, attacks of the Judaeans and corrupting more in regards to the Bible. We see in the Council of Nicaea where they make the Passover into Easter. Well, what is Easter? Well, Easter goes back to, for example, Babylon. And I've read some sources that says that Easter is actually just in regards of sun worship. I haven't confirmed that, but some sources I read says that. Would not be a big surprise, but in any case, why are we keeping Easter, which is not found in the Bible? And of course, the King James Version mistranslate Passover once, I think it's the book of Acts. So, the Geneva Bible actually gets it right in regards to translating it Passover. But the King James translation translated as Easter once, which might have, I guess it might have been because the former translator that they used a lot translated as well as Easter, it seems. So, but they should, they should have known better, If they really had so many people, in regards of the translating the King James Version, they should have corrected a mistake like that. Any case, so it's very sad. The Geneva Bible had it correctly, So if the Geneva Bible had it correctly, why couldn't the King James Version get it right, So anyway, so where did we go? So we are here. Okay, I need to put a little more up here, and I probably need to do like this and hold it to get the space. I have a bottle that is in the way, sadly. So, decline and maybe you can actually, I can actually drop it there. Okay. Decline and fall of Roman Empire, 180 to 476 AD. Commodus, 180 to 192 AD. Barak emperors, 192 to 284 AD. Appointed by army civil war. Okay, Septimius Severus, 193 to 211 AD, persecuted Christians. Caracalla, 211 to 270 AD, tolerated Christianity. Elagabalus, 280 to 222 AD, tolerated Christianity. Alexander Severus, 222 to 235 AD, favorable to Christianity. Maximum, 235 to 238 AD, persecuted Christians. Phillips, 244 to 249 AD, very favorable to Christianity. I have to be careful not very favorable to Christianity. Okay. Decius, 249 to 251 AD, persecuted Christians furiously. Valerian, 233 to 260 AD, persecuted Christians. Gallienus, 260 to 268 AD, favored Christians. It is also very interesting to remember that Christianity did not spread by the sword of the hand. The first 300 years of Christianity, it was spread by the word of the mouth, or the sword of the mouth, not by the sword of the hand. Anyway, Aurelian, 270 to 275 AD, persecuted Christians. Diocletian, 284 to 305 AD, persecuted Christians furiously. Now, in comparison, in regards of Mohammedanism, you see how it spreads by the sword of the hand. So again, here's another difference in regards of Christianity and Mohammedanism. So the Christians in the first 300 years was those that was killed. They were not the ones going out killing, But of course, if Satan couldn't, win in regards of killing Christians, what do? Well, you join them, right? And fix things in from the inside. You put yourself as the, the bishop of bishops and king of kings and lord of lords and so forward, taking all the titles of God upon yourself, and then apparently make Christians follow you. The big bad wolf in Rome in sheep clothing. Anyway, Diocletian, 284 to 305 AD, persecuted Christians furiously. Constantine, we have heard about Constantine, and apparently, as far as I can see, Constantine was, a sun worshipper. You still have coins after, he should have become a Christian, apparently still having the sun symbol on it. He fixed or instigated laws in regards of keeping Sunday instead of Saturday, if I remember correctly. I've seen two places where you have Roman laws saying that we shouldn't keep the Saturday, we shouldn't Judaize and all that. But we should keep the Sunday, which is the venerated day of the sun god Sol Invictus. I have no idea why the Christians would buy into this. And the same in regards to the Nicene Council. The creed seems pretty good to me. The creed in regards to the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, I think that's pretty biblical. But when you go down and read in regards of Easter, they write it like it's something like, wow, we solved this issue. No, you didn't solve anything. You just made universal error. Oh, that's the printer. Sorry about that. But anyway, they just made universal error. They accepted universal error. That was all they did. They accepted the Easter from Rome instead of the biblical Passover. And we have a lot of conflicts in regards of Asia Minor and in regards of Rome. We have Polycarp going to Rome to try to get them on the straight road. And it doesn't succeed. And then we have the Bishop Victor in the 2nd century writing, and apparently not only writing the people in Asia Minor, which is nowadays Turkey, but seemingly apparently threatening them that they need to change their Passover to Easter. And we have the letter which is written back to the Bishop Victor, and it's a wonderful letter. I think it shows three things. It shows that they didn't take the so-called authority of the Pope over the scriptures. Scripture says we are following scripture and so forward. Another thing is that we have, we see it goes back to the Apostle John and Apostle Philip and so forward in the area. So if they believe that they should keep Passover according to so-called Jewish traditions in regard to the Bible, like our master was a Jew, right? Because in our days, people will say, oh, you are a Judaizer or a legalist and you have lost salvation and so forward. And 2 seconds, I think I need to sneeze. Yeah. I'm back again. So they will say, oh, you're a Judaizer, you're an extremist, you're a radical, you are a Jew, you are a Judaizer, and so forth. The Judaizer have been used since the days of Paul, He seems to be the first one using it, and, the rest is history, pretty much. And of course, he's also the one opening the doors for lawlessness as well in regards of Sunday and Easter and whatever else is out there. But that's another story in itself. But so Constantine 306 to 330. Oh yeah, the letter. Sorry, so the letter talks about seeing that they take the scriptures over the authority over the Pope. So they are like sola scriptura, like the Protestants. And sadly, the Protestant didn't, it seems, I don't know what we have been doing like 500 years, that, many of the Christians are still keeping Sunday. Sunday is the mark of Rome. They see it as their authority, that, their mark, that they show the world that they think to have the authority to change the law of God, which of course they don't, but they use Sunday as, for that in regards of, see, we have the authority. So why would any Protestants continue to keep this tradition? And this was one of the things that the Catholics actually told the Protestants about. And yet, even if the Catholics actually was pointing out, that they, apparently Luther didn't really jump on the wagon and, we should keep the Sabbath. Andreas Karlstadt, which was called a radical and still is called a radical. I'm not sure why it would be bad to be a radical following scriptures, but, he sadly him and Luther got into some conflict, sadly. I think Luther should have gone back and stood with Karlstadt instead of the mess that he made, but in any case, it seems like Luther was, in one of his letters or one of his writings, it seems like he might have been afraid that Karlstadt would actually have taken his, his position or whatever, At least he's, it doesn't, he says this in another matter in some sense, that if Karlstadt this and that, and he has some really bad words in regards of Karlstadt, even in his later life, apparently. And the last letter I've seen, that where Luther writes in regards of Karlstadt is just horrible, He's writing a friend of his, and he says, I heard this wonderful story about Andreas Karlstadt, that they were spitting on his grave and spitting on his house. And then Luther says, but we shouldn't speak bad about the dead, I just, why would you even be happy for Karlstadt dying? Karlstadt was standing, he was, he had his issues like anyone else, but anyway, it seems like he might actually have been in the direction of promoting the Sabbath. It seems like he was not entirely sure which state it was, but again, I don't know everything in regards to the Reformation, and there's some sources that seems to suggest that, Luther is talking about that if Karlstadt is going to continue to talk about the Sabbath, we'll end up keeping the Sabbath, like it's a bad thing. He's saying it like it's a bad thing. Another place he's saying like, oh, we'll become like the Jews, Well, Jesus was a Jew and he kept the Sabbath, It was his custom to go into the synagogue on the Sabbath, and synagogue is just the meeting house where you read the scriptures. They didn't have computers and so forward as we have, and and book printing and all that. So, but again, you can look back in regards to the Protestants. It started out as a Reformation, but the Reformation failed and it became a protest. And it seems like you can find fault in pretty much every one of them, but they tried. They tried to go in the right direction, and they had their issues for sure, here and there and all that. But again, we can fix those things in our days. Constantine, 306 to 337 AD, became a Christian himself. Well, I'm not so sure about that, but, couldn't you actually see everything actually Christian himself? Let's see here. Where is Constantine? Okay, became a Christian himself. I'm not so sure that he did, but anyway. There's just, so it's just sad that we see that in regards of Passover, we're talking about the Passover as well. In regards to the Passover and the Easter controversy, you see that at the Council of Nicaea that they are like, they have like 5 lines of statement or something like that about it. And they're like, oh, we solved this issue and blah, 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 like it's something good. Well, no, you just made everybody now keep it at the wrong time, You just made it you made everybody universally go into error because you went for the Roman traditions. I have no idea why the Christians accepted this, They should have known better, and then begin to say, oh, the Judaizers and all that, and begin to attack. Also other feasts. We see in the 4th century, we see others attacking those Christians that goes to keep the Feast of Tabernacle and the trumpets and atonement and all that. And it's like, why would you attack those festivals? That's what is written in the Bible. Anyway, so we see a lot of attack on the things, and it seems like historical that Satan has systematically removed content, documents, and all that, and by the use of Rome and the Mohammedans, and even the Jews in the beginning as well seem to destroy the documents of the Nazarenes. But anyway, let's get back to these things. Constantine, 306 to 337 AD, became a Christian himself. Again, I'm not so sure about that. But anyway, Julian, 361 to 363 AD, the apostate, sought to restore paganism. Julian, 363 to 364 AD. Theodosius, 378 to 395, made Christianity the state religion. And there was something in regards of forcing now the pagans to become Christians. Very bad idea. How can you force anyone into a religion? And of course, they took their pagan traditions with them. Yeah. Anyway, so it's, I guess we are warned in regards of our master telling us, be aware of wolves in sheep clothing. They might look like, sheep, but they are wolves, The empire divided in 395 AD. And it's a little hard to see if I can get it all. There we go. So we have the west here, and you have the east over here. You have Honorius, 395 to 423 AD. I'm not sure if I should go this direction in regards of, is that how he does it? And then we have Arcadius, 395 to 408 AD in the east. And we have Valentinian the third, 423 to 455 AD. Theodosius the second, 408 to 450 AD. That's in regards to the east. Then we have the Western Empire fell. So the Western Empire apparently fell in 476 AD according to this. And Anastasius, 491 to 580 AD in regards to the east. Oh, sorry. I'm maybe one needs to read it like this. I'm not so sure. It's let's see. Western Empire fell 476 AD at the hands of barbarians ushering in the Dark Ages. So we have Justinian in 427 to 565 AD, and the Eastern Empire fell 453 AD, I think, to the Mohammedans. And again, they had, if you look in regards of iconoclasm, in regards of destroying images and so forward, they had a lot of, there was some conflicts in regards of this. And I don't know if it's punishment from Jehovah or Yeshua, our master, because the Eastern Christians began to worship icons, and and the same thing we have in our days. We have both the Catholics and the Orthodox worshiping these dead things like images, idols, graven images, icons, images. The Orthodox believe that the Holy Spirit is in the images when they, the icons, when they're sanctified. What abomination, what blasphemy, the Holy Spirit is in the children of God, not in dead things. And then, of course, we have the Catholics with all their idolatry, with statues and images as well. And their cookie Jesus, of course, their wafer God, which is a false Jesus, a false Yeshua. They make the sacrifice again and again for the dead and the living in their whorehouses. Anyway, so the Eastern Empire fell 1453 AD, and again, I don't know if it was, but beginning to worship these idols and images and all of that. And again, if you look in regards of the Eastern and search on iconoclasm, you can find some information where, where they have conflicts in regards of that. And sadly, those non-iconoclastic people sadly loses. Andreas Karlstadt was an iconoclast himself as well. And sadly, again, Luther didn't seem to support him on many things. That Luther might have still have had maybe some love for, I don't know what was going on, but he might have been reading too much Paul, because he was going in regards of, we shouldn't go too quickly in regards of the weak and all that. So in the beginning, when he comes back to Wittenberg, he says that it's not, it's correct what you have done and all that, but because of the weak and all that, we shouldn't go so fast, and this, really slick, snaky, slicky, but I'm still researching in regards to that, but something just seems wrong, something seems wrong. So, but of course we can go back and read Karlstadt and, actually just, fix the things, we have so many possibilities in our days, we just have to wake up and use some time on it. We have so much history and so much, and of course, we have, we just have to wake up and begin to care a little, about the things, about truth. So many lies in our days and deceptions. Anyway, out of the ruins of the Western Empire arose the Papal Empire, and also known as the Holy Roman Empire. So you have the pagan empire, then you have the holy, so-called holy Roman Empire. And Rome still ruled the world for 1,000 years. So out of the ruins of the Western Empire arose the Papal Empire, and Rome still ruled the world for 1,000 years. And we see in history how the Roman bishop evolves into this little horn that plucks 3 nations up, and he did that, and he has been persecuting the saints for a long, long time. Now, this should be a little better in regards of not too many numbers like on the other page here. So we had a little in regards to the Western Empire and the Eastern Empire. It might have been a little messy in regards of, but of course you can just, take it there, and Eastern, West and all that. Archidius, Theodosius, Anastasius, Justinian, And apparently he just jumped forward. Eastern Empire fell 1453. You know, and how the Western Empire falls 476 AD. But again, we know that the Roman Empire has to continue because the Bible says so. The last beast in the book of Daniel, and I'm not sure where that is in the book of Daniel, what chapter. But anyway, the last beast is Roman. When Jesus comes back, or Yeshua comes back, he will throw the beast in the fire. So that's still future. So if that's still a Roman beast, you know, the little horn that thinks to change times and laws and also understands dark sayings, or hard sayings, dark sayings, hard sayings, you know, it's in regards of he's a clever guy, but he, the little horn is Roman in nature. It's still sitting on the Roman beast. So it's still Roman. Anyway, let's go forward. Christianization of the Roman Empire. Rapid spread of Christianity. Tertullian 160 to 220 AD wrote, "We are of yesterday, yet we have filled your empire, your cities, your towns, your islands, your tribes, your camps, castles, palaces, assemblies, and senate. By the end of the imperial persecution, 330 AD, Christians numbered about 1/2 of the population of the Roman Empire." And think about it. The Christian faith was not spread by the sword of the hand. It was spread by the sword of the mouth. So, you know, it was spreading really quickly in the Roman Empire. You know, if half of the people in the Roman Empire was Christian at this point, that was, you know, they were pretty successful, it seems, spreading Christianity. So, let's see here. So here we go in regards of Constantine. Some believe that Constantine went in the direction of Christianity because, you know, the Christians were so many at that point. So, you know, he had, in regards of political necessity, that he did what he did, some say. Any case, there's different opinions in regards of that. But, you know, just, it doesn't seem like, you know, what I've looked into, it doesn't seem like that would be, you know, some of the things that he did doesn't seem like it would be a Christian thing to do. So anyway, in any case, you know, it's up to God to judge in the end. So it's just, you know, we should be aware that the bad seeds are growing up with the good seeds until the harvest, which is yet future. So we have to be aware that there is, you know, false sheep, you know. And in our days, it's just terrible to see how no one is talking about the Antichrist and the prophecies in the Bible, and no one knows who the Antichrist is and who the whole writing on the dominion and you know, the dominion of the beast, how is it? The dominion and authority of the beast. Anyway, so let's see Constantine. That was one of the Roman Roman emperors. His conversion in the course of his wars with competitors to establish himself on the throne on the eve of the Battle of Milvan Bridge, just outside Rome, October 27, 312 AD, he saw in the sky just above the setting of the sun. Sun, and, you know, in regards to the sun thing, might be, you know, the sun. A vision of the cross. And above it, the words, "In this sign conquer." He decided to fight under the banner of Christ, and he won the battle, a turning point in the history of Christianity. Well, again, I don't know, that some things just seems fishy to me, when studying some of these things. But anyway, let's just go along with what he, his edict of toleration 330 AD. By this edict, Constantine granted to Christians and to all others full liberty of following that religion which each may choose. Well, that seems to be a pretty good thing, but the thing is that a lot of people was persecuted, as I understand it, after the Nicene Council. So again, it would be interesting to get in more information on that, and I've sadly not been able to get that much information. But what I have seen is not good, But anyway, the first edict of its kind in history, he went further. He favored Christians in every way. Taxes, filled chief officers with them, exempted Christian ministers from taxes and military service. Exempted Christian ministers from taxes and military service. Ministers, okay. So that's not all Christians, or what? Only the ministers, or how does that work? Encouraged and helped in building churches, made Christianity the religion of his court, issued a general exhortation 325 AD to all his subjects to embrace Christianity. So issued a general exhortation 325 AD to all his subjects to embrace Christianity. Well, his kind of Christianity, And because the Roman aristocracy persisted. Okay, it apparently didn't have more space on the SD card. So let's see. Hopefully I didn't lose the video, but in adhering to the pagan religions, Constantine moved his capital to Byzantium, and called it Constantinople, New Rome, capital of the new Christian empire. Again, did Jesus say anything about making, an empire on this earth in regards of Christianity? Jesus said, my kingdom is not of this world, right? But anyway, Constantine and the Bible, he ordered for the churches of Constantinople 50 Bibles to be prepared under the direction of Eusebius on the finest vellum. Not sure what vellum is, but anyway, it must be some kind of, parchment, something you can write on. By skillful artists. I wonder how many of those Bibles actually exist today, if there's anyone. And he commissioned 2 public carriages for their speedy conveyance to the emperor. And he commissioned 2 public carriages for their speedy conveyance to the emperor. It is possible that the Sinaitic and Vatican manuscripts are of this group. Okay. Sinaitic and Vatican manuscripts are of this group. Okay. Constantine and Sunday. Oh, here we go. And this guy, I don't think he seems to still have a thing for Sunday and all that. And sadly, we cannot see the edict, but if you look it up on Google, the edict in regards of changing the Sabbath into Sunday, you should be able to find it. I think it was Constantine that put out an edict, and that was maybe 2. I've seen 2, but I can't remember if it was Constant. You have to look that up for yourself. But anyway, you can just see that if someone was making a law against the Sabbath, well, some people were keeping the Sabbath then, right? And of course, we see Sunday, we have one of the Christian sources saying that Sunday was kept by Rome and the other Egyptian city, but, all the others seem to have been keeping the Sabbath. So, Asia Minor also seem to have been keeping the feast, the festivals found in the Bible, according to Jewish traditions, and the Sabbath as well, But again, we have lost seemingly information, but that's not to say that we don't have things here and there to reconstruct some of the things and see what they actually believed. And we still have the Bible, to read as they had. So anyway, Constantine and Sunday, he made the Christians' day of assembly, Sunday a rest day. Oh, wait. What did he? He made Sunday, a Christian day? Wait. Where do you see that in the Bible? How did he make, Sunday a day of rest, which is the first day of the week, instead of the last day of the week, which is one of the 10 commandments? And it's said that we should keep it because, so to remember that God or Jehovah created the heavens and the earth in 6 days and rested on the 7th day. And it seems like many of the Christians have forgotten that God created things in 6 days and rested on the 7th day, because most people believe in evolution in our days, in billions and millions of years, Maybe that's because we don't keep the Sabbath anymore and take things seriously. Anyway, so Christians' day of assembly, Sunday, a rest day, forbidding ordinary work, permitting Christian soldiers to attend church service. This rest for 1 day a week meant much for slaves. Yeah, but it was the wrong day. And in at least one of the edicts, it might be both actually, but at least one of the edicts, it talks about, that we should keep in regards to Sunday in accordance to the Sol Invictus, the false god Sol Invictus. Now, why would a Christian want to keep, keep a day that is for a false god? That doesn't make sense. Why would he make a law in regards of, so we see a lot of things going, going in a wrong direction, I think. If you are universally agreeing to do falsehood, that's not good, When you have some differences, and, one of the groups, might be the one that follows the Bible and is correct. And then you have another group that might be bigger than the biblical group. And yet, we want to have some universal, communion and, agreement and all that. But of course, the big group don't want to go with the small group in regards of following the Bible. But, over time, it ends up getting corrupted. And that's the same thing we see in our days, now that the Protestants are running back to the hall in regards of Rome, the great city of Rome. Well, Rome doesn't change in regards of, she's still wicked and, is still the mother whore. So if you just look on the Book of Trent in regards of all the curses that is in there, they are, as I understand it, still in effect. They are not removed. They are still there and still valid. And so all the Protestants are still cursed according to the Book of Trent, or the documents of Trent, from the Council of Trent, which was started in 1545, I think, and went on for some years, and they made this horrible document cursing the Protestants. Anyway, so Constantine and Sunday, he made the Christians' day of assembly, Sunday, a rest day, forbidding ordinary work, permitting Christian soldiers to attend church services. This rest for 1 day a week meant much for slaves. But again, he made it illegal for people to keep Saturday and was forcing people to keep Sunday. Again, how can you, that doesn't seem Christian to me, A Christian would stand for the truth. But again, I can't remember. But if you look at the edict, it's just horrible to read. Absolutely horrible. So again, looking at what he did, his actions, and the Council of Nicaea, and as I understand it, we don't have that much information on what was going on in the Council of Nicaea. How could they agree to succumb to Easter? How could they do that? And there was something in regards of the Nazarenes wasn't invited. I've heard that they was not invited to the Council of Nicaea. At least they didn't attend. I've heard two different, but anyway, it wouldn't be a surprise if they were not allowed because, oh, they're Jews, right? And they are Judaizers, right? And you just see the Roman agenda going down through the history. You can collect a little here and a little there, and you can, get more and more of the picture. Anyway, houses of worship. The first church building was erected in the reign of Alexander Severus, 222 to 235 AD. After the edict of Constantine, they began to be built everywhere. Reform, slavery, gladiatorial fights, killing of unwelcome children, and crucifixion as a form of execution were abolished with the Christianization of the Roman Empire. Well, I guess that seems to be a good thing. Not killing, but again, as I understand it, I don't think it's the full story in regards of it, because I've seen some sources in regards to the 4th century where they were hunting down Judaizers, the people that didn't want to eat pigs, or was Judaizing, or kept the Sabbath, or whatever. There's some information here and there on things. So it was not, it seems like you needed to accept the Roman Catholic Church, their version of the things. So again, I think there might be some more history that he might actually have, in some sense, maybe forgetting a little. I don't know. Anyway, paganization of the church. Oh, here we go. Maybe there's some good things here. Paganization of the church. Emperor Constantine, 306 to 337 AD, when he became a Christian. Again, a Christian. I don't know. I have seen some things again that I really, but anyway, like again, it's a little like the same to say that the Pope is Christian, No, the Pope is not Christian. He's a wolf in sheep clothing. He's the Antichrist, He is in the office and chair of the Antichrist, So, he might seem to be Christian on the surface, but, look at the fruit, of that crazy institution, this asylum, crazy institution of an asylum, a lunacy asylum, Anyway, when he became a Christian, issued an edict granting everybody the right to choose his own religion. Anyway, I still want to read more on history in regards to these things, but because again, I think there's something that he is overlooking. But anyway, Emperor Theodosius, 378 to 395 AD, made Christianity the state religion of the Roman Empire. And, didn't Jesus says, don't be part of the world, and yet, anyway. And made church membership compulsory. Okay, so this guy is apparently the, Emperor Theodosius, 378 to 395 AD, made Christianity the state religion of the Roman Empire, and made church membership compulsory. This was the worst calamity that has ever befallen the church. This forced conversion filled the churches with unregenerate people, actually non-Christians, pagans. That just, if you're going to force someone to become, part of a church, and again, Satan is very sneaky, and again, he probably used Constantine to start the, if you can't, the more they killed, the more came up, the more people Satan killed, the more became Christians, So what do you do? What would you do if you were Satan? Satan is not stupid. Well, if I can't kill them, well, I'll infiltrate them, right? And I think he did that. And now his fellow puppet, the so-called Pope, is now sitting thinking he's the head of all Christianity and actually all the world, and anyway, proud as a pope, right? And lies in Latin. What is the Latin language or the tongue of? Well, that goes back to, all roads leads to Rome, right? Yeah, there we go. Why do we have those sayings, right? And I think it might actually also be in regards of bullshit because of the papal bull, maybe. And the papal bull is pretty much bullshit, Anyway, I don't know. I haven't really, in regards to the bullshit thing, I haven't been able to verify. But, looking at the Protestant background and all that, it wouldn't be a surprise. Luther burned the bull, right? So, where he was excommunicated. Well, I think if anyone needs to be excommunicated from Christianity, that would be the Antichrist in Rome. And I think the Protestants pretty much did that when they protested against him. But, they could have gone further, I think. And we have 500 years and we haven't, really gone, there's still a lot of Christians are keeping Sunday, And in Denmark, it's just going the wrong direction. And I think in the Western world, is actually, going in the wrong direction for sure. Which is in some sense interesting, looking at some of the documents we have in regards of what is going to happen in the end times. It's just interesting to see what is going on nowadays. Anyway, Emperor Theodosius 378 to 395 AD made Christianity the state religion of the Roman Empire and made church membership. Oh, did I go too far up here? Okay. Made the Christianity the state religion of the Roman Empire and made church membership compulsory. This was the worst calamity that has ever befallen the church. This forced conversion filled the churches with unregenerate people. And again, some that was forced, pagans forced into the church that really didn't believe, but was just forced into the church, You can't force anyone to believe in Jesus Christ. Or Yeshua, the anointed. You can't force anyone to believe in, if they don't believe, they don't believe, So this was a really, really bad thing. And again, I guess already at Constantine, Satan gets into the things and get control over, again, if you can't kill them, well, join them, right? Not only so, Theodosius undertook the forcible suppression of all other religions and prohibited idol worship. Well, I guess that was a good thing in regards to prohibited idol worship. But the thing is, look at the Catholic Church today and the whorehouses. They have idol worship. Anyway, under his decrees, heathen temples were torn down by mobs of Christians, and there was much bloodshed. Christ has designed to conquer by purely spiritual and moral means. Up to this time, conversion was voluntary, a genuine change in heart and life. And that's the thing, if you begin to force people to become Christians, You can't force anyone to become Christian. You can't force a Mohammedan to become a Christian. He has, you have to show him the truth. And, if the Spirit draws him, it's, then you have gotten a brother, But, if it's not, if he's not going to be drawn, it's on his own head in some sense. He had, every person has to make up that, we are just to talk or tell the truth. We are to use the sword of the mouth. We are not to use the sword of the hand. We are to preach to the Mohammedans and not fear preaching to them. It seems like there's a lot of fear going on in regards to the Mohammedans, but we are to tell them the truth. We are to tell them the truth, because if we're not telling them the truth, that's not loving them. The same thing with the Catholics and the Orthodox in regards of all their idolatry with their idols and images, icons, and cookie Jesus, and the cookies, the wafers. It's just abomination. And of course, we have to point out the scriptures talks about the Antichrist and the beast of 666, which is, the man of 666. Who is the man of 666? Well, that's the Pope, so-called Pope, or so-called His Holiness, his great fardiness, and his holy faker, or whatever, unholy faker, Jesus said, or Yeshua said, we shouldn't call anyone on earth father. And yet, what does the Antichrist do? Call himself the so-called Holy Father and His Holiness. And, the Pope, which means Papa or something like that. I think we get into that in this, so we should warn the Catholics and tell them this is not good, and it's just, absolutely not good. Like, the Protestants was former Catholics, they found out, something is wrong. And they still had some Catholic living, many of them. But at least they were beginning to go in the right direction. Anyway, but now the military spirit of Imperial Rome had entered the church. The church had conquered the Roman Empire, but in reality the Roman Empire had conquered the church by making the church over into the image of the Roman Empire. It's very sad. And again, the first 300 years of Christian history, it was using the sword of the mouth, not the sword of the hand. And sadly, it seems like after Constantine that it began to become the sword of the hand that it was used, against so-called heretics, And again, there might have been some that, had really, was wrong, absolutely. But is that enough reason to take up the sword of the hand and go out and kill people? No, I don't think so. Absolutely not. That's not the way of the Christian, We're just to stand on truth, right? Anyway, the church had changed its nature. Oh, yeah. Had entered its great apostasy. Yeah, well, that's in regards of, again, if you look in scripture and go to Daniel and the book of Revelation, that's two books of, talking about the little horn, the beast, the man of 666, and the whore riding the beast that is strong by the blood of the saints. It's prophesied, all of it. It points to Rome. And the Roman emperor or the Roman king, the Roman Caesar. And who is the Roman Caesar in our days? Well, the so-called Pope. And he also thinks he's God, apparently. Anyway, he proud as a Pope, right? Anyway. The church had changed its nature, had entered its great apostasy, had become a political organization in the spirit and pattern of Imperial Rome, and took its nosedive into the millennium of papal abominations. Oh yeah, oh yeah, we went into the Dark Ages, people. We have to stand for truth, and we should not trust Rome or the Roman, so-called, so-called Pope, Don't believe him, he might be very slick talking and all this and love and ecumenical and this and that. Stay away from him, people. Brothers and sisters, stay away from this guy. It is a big bad wolf and it's a no dog. Yeah, now, well, maybe that was a bad, sorry, I've seen some, I've seen some in regards of a naturopath and a veterinarian thing. Yeah, we don't go to the Pope. Maybe it's a bad thing, but of course a dog is an unclean animal in regards of. Anyway, brothers and sisters, don't go to the Pope, you know. And, you know, don't let people lead you to the Pope, you know. We should be led to Christ and Christ only. So anyway, why are the so-called Protestants turning to him? Why do they not know who they protested against? How can, you know, you can't be a Protestant if you're not protesting the Antichrist, you know, and all his false stockman doctrines and abominations, you know. Anyway, so it's nosedive into the millennium papal abominations. The imperial church of the 4th and 5th centuries had become an entire persecuted church. Oh yeah, it's not a new file again. Persecuted church of the first 3 centuries. In its ambition to rule, it lost and forgot the spirit of Christ. Well, again, I think just Satan infiltrated the things, you know. If you can't kill it off, well, infiltrate it and destroy it from the inside, right? You know, worship at first very simple, was developed into elaborate, stately, imposing ceremonies, having all the outward splendor that had belonged to the heathen temples. Oh, Ministers became priests. The term priest was not applied to Christian ministers before 200 AD. Okay, well, we do see in the Bible in regards, we do use, you know, priest. I'm not sure what other word one could use in regards from the Bible, but anyway, you know, you have the Jews that have priest as well. What other word would you use? And of course, we become priests and kings according to the book of Revelation. So, but anyway, I don't know which other word would have, you know. Anyway, it was borrowed from the Jewish system and from the example of heathen priesthood. Again, if it was borrowed from the Jewish system, why would that be? I'm not sure why that would be. But anyway, Leo the First, 440 to 61, prohibited priests from marrying, and celibacy, what is it called? Celibacy of the priest became a law of the Roman Church. But celibacy has worked the wrong way. Through all the centuries, the notorious immorality of the priest has been one of the standing scandals of the church, of the Roman Catholic Church, you know. And when a papist or popist, you know, someone following the Pope, the so-called Pope, he's first and foremost a Romanist, you know, having his allegiance to Rome and not to the place he's living at. And so it's, yeah, anyway. There was laws against Romanist or Papists not being able to be in government positions. In the beginning of U.S. history, they have like laws against that. Probably because they knew what they were fleeing from in regards to this wicked system. So anyway, very sad that Rome has, done a lot of infiltration and seems to be using the U.S. as their sword in the hand to commit all their abominations in regards of wars here and there and so forward. What is it called? Proxy wars or something like that. I have no idea why any Protestant would send their children into the walls of the Pope, Why would you, stupidity. Jesus said, whosoever takes up the sword shall die by the sword. When you as a Protestant send your children, to fight wars that has been instigated by the political powers of the so-called Pope, or the Antichrist, it's a lose-lose situation, Don't take part in his laws, You see the you see the wars where Protestants are fighting each other. Oh yeah, I think the Romans are, really enjoying themselves when they see the Protestants killing Protestants. When we shouldn't fight against each other because we should take up the Bible and read the Bible and find out where the Bible is pointing to and defeat Satan by using truth in regards to the word. And we have lost a lot of that apparently we don't know anything in our days. People are going for the Jews. Oh, it's the Jews, this and that and all that. Always giving the fault to the Jews. Oh, really? What does the Bible say? Is it the Jews? No, they don't say. They say it's Roman. So, oh, it's the Jews. No, it's Roman. Anyway, so conversion of the barbarians, the Goths, the Vandals, and Huns who overthrew the Roman Empire accepted Christianity, but to a large extent their conversion was nominal, and this further filled the church with pagan practices. Conflicts with heathen philosophers, even as every generation seeks to interpret Christ in terms of its own thinkings. So no sooner had Christianity made its appearance than it began its process of amalgamation with the Greek and Oriental philosophies. Why are Christians believing in evolution? Why are Catholic priests, and apparently it seems there's some sources that says the Pope also said that God couldn't have done it in another way. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if one of the Antichrist said that. But in any way, it's paganism. Evolution is paganism, nothing to do with Christianity, And yet they want to promote these things. They're just disgusting, And they should know, right? Because they are the educated, right? And yet that is what they promote. It's just absolutely disgusting. And it's not only the Catholic priest. Here in Denmark, like 82% of the Danish people believe in pagan satanic evolution. Someone is not doing their job, getting an education, being paid, and standing behind the podium, yet not speaking the truth, apparently. And Oriental philosophies, and there arose many sects: Gnosticism, Manichaeism, Montaism. What was Montaism? That was, what is in regards of Montaism? I can't remember if that was in regards of the Pauline Christians. Anyway. Monarchianism, Arianism, that was one of the things that they fought in regards to the Council of Trent, and stood against, which I think is, true, that, it's not biblical in regards of Arianism, we have the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, so that was, as I see it, a good thing. It was not a bad thing in regards to the creed. It was a pretty good creed, I think. Apollinarianism, Nestorianism, Eutychianism, Monophysites. From the 2nd to the 6th century, the church was rent with controversies over these and similar isms, and almost lost sight of its true mission. Yeah, I guess so. Lots of issues. I see here. So we're going into persecutions, apparently. Yep. And again, they don't really say much about these different. Gnosticism, of course, is not Christianity. It's, even if it's seen as the spiritual version of Christianity, it's just paganism using Christian, Christian people and, the facade thing in some sense, But of course, it's pretty easy to actually discount it, I guess, if you just read the Bible and know who Jesus is and so forward. And, there's only one way to everlasting life, and that's through the Son of God and God in flesh. So we have persecutions here in regards of church history. Persecutions. Nero in 64 AD occurred the Great Fire in Rome. The Great Fire in Rome. The people suspected Nero, and to avert suspicion from himself, he accused the Christians. Yeah, it's always good to have a scapegoat, right? And ordered their punishment. Why would the Christians, set a fire, anyway. Thousands were put to death in the most cruel ways, among them Paul and possible Peter. That seems to be from some kind of tradition. But anyway, Tacitus says, therefore Nero, to get rid of the rumors substituted as criminals and punished with exquisite tortures those persons odious for shameful practices, whom the common people called Christians. Christ, the author of that name, was punished by the procurator Pontius Pilate in the reign of Tiberius, and the deadly superstition, repressed for a while, broke out again, not only in Judea, the original seat of that evil, but through the city Rome, whither from every side all things horrible or shameful flow together and come into vogue. I'm not sure what vogue is, but, into, I guess, vogue, apparently. Yeah. Anyway, and that was from Tacitus. Was that a historian or something like that? But anyway, I've seen this before. So interesting. The funny thing is, in regards of the sources, in regards of Christianity, right? The people are like, oh, you don't have any historical sources about Jesus Christ and all that. But the thing is, every time, you have a person becoming Christian writing about these things, now his, the information from him is not okay. Because now he's a Christian, so now, of course, whatever he writes is not valid anymore, which seems to be pretty stupid, actually. But anyway, let's go forward. Domitian 96 AD. Domitian instituted a persecution against Christians. It was short but extremely violent. Many thousands were slain in Rome and Italy, among them Flavius Clemens, a cousin of the emperor, and his wife Flavia Domitilla banished. The Apostle John was banished to Patmos. Again, some say it was the time in regards of Patmos, but we have sources that seems to actually talk about Apostle John might actually have been, let's see here. We have this one. Let's see if we have. That's one of the sources at least. Yeah, it should be here somewhere. There we go. Here we have, this is the last conclusion. Oh, I can't really show it to you because it's a little big. Maybe if I do like this, hopefully not destroying the book. And if I remove the book here, we can maybe center. Okay. Present this English translation of God's original utterance to the Apostle John on the isle of Patmos, circa AD 55. That's around AD 55, according to this guy. And he also have Sir Isaac Newton actually writing on the other page about it. As you can see, Sir Isaac Newton, he wrote a lot. I just saw that they have a lot of the manuscripts from Isaac Newton in Israel, apparently. I had the website where they were talking about 6,000 pages on the Bible from Isaac Newton or something like that. But here he tries to find out when the Apocalypse was written, and I'm not sure. He's trying to find out here and there, and from the sources that he has. We have other sources that, say that it's actually, younger than what is said. So anyway, so again, this might be, just be aware that there are other suggestions out there that it's actually the book of Revelation might actually have been written, earlier, which might make it more interesting in regards to those false apostles that was in Ephesus. And having one of the last letters of Paul actually says that all Asia has left him, rejected him, turned away from me, he says in one of his last letters. Very interesting, right? Why would anyone leave Paul? Well, maybe because he didn't have clean, maybe that was maybe that was a problem. We were warned about wolves in sheep clothing, right? And I think we had a wolf already in the first century beginning to corrupt the things. And of course, you would expect an enemy to come after Jesus, because Jesus said so, that there would come an enemy and sow the bad seeds. So anyway, that's another topic and another subject and all that. But I think Jesus in the book of Revelation actually pretty much exposes the doctrines of Paul in regards of eating food sacrificed to false gods. Anyway, Trajan 98 to 170 AD. And again, I think also it was Luther's downfall was to use, Paul all the time, use too much of Paul. Anyway, and not actually, the Anabaptists seem to put more weight on the words of Jesus than Paul. So that was, and Karlstadt also seemed to go in that direction, yet Luther seemed to weigh Paul more than Christ, and, defeating, in some sense, the doctrines of our master by a so-called disciple. Anyway, it's a big subject. I just had, that's not to say that one cannot use the letters of Paul, but just be aware that there might be some leaven in them. So, Trajan 98 to 170 AD, one of the best emperors, but felt he should uphold the laws of the emperor. And Christianity was regarded as an illegal religion. Oh, maybe I should turn that. Because Christians refused to take part in emperor worship. Yep, that would be absolutely wrong. And they did this weird thing where they put something in the fire or something like that, and to show, to make a sacrifice or something, in regards to the emperor. But they didn't want to take part in these things, and they were killed for that. And the church was regarded as a secret society, which was forbidden. Christians were not sought out, but when accused, were punished. Among those who perished in this reign was Simeon, the brother of Jesus, the bishop of Jerusalem, crucified 107 AD. And I think we had James, that was the first bishop in Jerusalem, and we have the list of the circumcisions church in Jerusalem, and I think they were circumcised until 135 AD, and then they choose a non-circumcised because they wanted to get into Jerusalem and all that, and thought it helped if they had a bishop that was not circumcised. Anyway, I know the information is out there. I can't remember where it is, but anyway, it's out there somewhere. So anyway, so the bishop of Jerusalem crucified 170 AD, apparently a brother of Jesus here. And Ignatius, second bishop of Antioch, who was taken to Rome and thrown to the white beast, 110 AD. Write some letters to the different places as well. Pliny, who was sent by the emperor to Asia Minor, where Christians had become so numerous that the heathen temples were almost forsaken, to punish Christians, wrote to the emperor Trajan, And again, in regards of Asia Minor, is really one of the big places for truth and Christians. It seems, at least for the first 200 years, or maybe more. But really an area that, and apparently it doesn't seem like there's many Christians in Turkey anymore. But the Mohammedans have done a good job, killing them off. And of course, the Christians themselves turn to idols and images and all that, which is not a good thing, So anyway, Trajan, they affirmed that the sum of their crime or their error, whichever it was this: they used to meet on a stated day before light and to sing among themselves in turn a hymn to Christ as to a god. Am I? Okay, there we go. As to a god. And to bind themselves by an oath. Well, we shouldn't take any oath. But anyway, not to any wickedness, or not to do any wickedness. I think that's missing something in regard, because I've read this quote before. Not to do any wickedness, but that they would never commit theft or robbery nor adultery, that they would never break their word, that they would never deny a trust when called to give it up. And after these performances, their way was to separate and then meet again to partake of ordinary food. So that was the huge problem with the Christians, right? They wouldn't commit adultery or robbery or theft or, break their word and all that. That was, anyway. So we have Hadrian, 117 to 138, persecuted the Christians, but in moderation. Telephorus, pastor of the Roman Church, and many others suffered martyrdom. However, in this reign, Christianity made marked progress in numbers, wealth, learning, and social influence. Marked progress in numbers, wealth, learning, and social influence. Antoninus Pius, 138 to 161, this emperor rather favored the Christians, but felt he had to uphold the law, and there were many martyrs among them Polycarp, and Polycarp was the one going to Rome to try to get them straight in regards of the doctrine of Easter, that they were, keeping Easter instead of Passover. Sadly, Polycarp couldn't turn them around, and, over time, Rome, as it's, seemingly is the case many times, wins out over time. And in regards of the Nicene Creed is where you can see that Rome won out in regards of this conflict about Passover or Easter. The thing is, the Passover is biblical, Easter is not. But, get some brainies, right, in a council, and apparently they can work things out to go around what the Bible says. It have happened a lot of times. I think there was there some curses also in the Nicene Creed? I think there was some curses in it. I think it's like 4 or 5 pages. I have it on my mobile. I've yet to read it all. But I think there was some curses as well. And, did Jesus say we should curse anyone? Nope. Of course, the curses starts out with Paul again, of course. James tells us that we should, there shouldn't come salt water and drink what is called fresh water and salt water out of the same mouth in some sense. So I don't think we should curse anyone, So anyway, going on to Marcus Aurelius, 161 to 180, like Hadrian, he regarded the maintenance of the state religion a political necessity. But unlike Hadrian, 2 seconds. I would be nice with some water. Oh, maybe a little more than 2 seconds. I just need some water. Okay. Hopefully I'm ready again. Maybe I've already actually read enough in regards, but I guess I can cut it out, or, well, I'll see. So, Marcus Aurelius, 161 to 180, like Hadrian, he regarded... Okay, there we go. He regarded the maintenance of the state religion a political necessity. But unlike Hadrian, he encouraged persecution of Christians. A persecution of Christians. It was cruel and barbarous, the severest since Nero. Many thousands were beheaded and thrown to the wild beast, among them Justin Martyr. And Justin Martyr, he's talking with a Jew in one of his, and he's quoted for saying that if any Christians, says that that you're going directly to heaven when you die, well, don't believe they're Christians, And of course, the letter in itself that we had to Bishop Victor in Rome, in regards of the conflict of the Easter and Passover, we also see that they're saying that many saints are sleeping, awaiting the resurrection and all that. So that's another point in regards of that they didn't believe that they were going directly to heaven when they died. And again, why would Jesus come back to resurrect us if we're already with him in heaven? Anyway, but that's an interesting quote from Justin Martyr when he says, if any Christian says that that you're going to directly to heaven when you die, or that they are going directly to heaven when they die, don't believe they're Christians. And so, thinking about how many Christians in our days actually believe that they're going directly to heaven, it seems to be a doctrine that is pushed on the Protestants as well by, it's very interesting to see how it's actually pushed on the Christians. As I found out that, Walter Martin, he might have pushed that doctrine, but at least I asked them in regards if they believed that they were going directly to heaven, and the ministry that is continuing from Walter Martin says yes, they believe that, we are going to heaven if one is a Christian. And that's the same with Czech publications, that they have this doctrine and nearly forcing this doctrine of going directly to heaven when we die. It's just interesting, why are they pushing this doctrine, of going directly to heaven, and then attacking the biblical doctrine of, going to the realm of death when we die. And, where did Jesus go when he died? Where was Jesus 3 days and 3 nights? Well, he was in Sheol, which is the Greek Hades, which is in English the realm of death. He was in the earth 3 days and 3 nights, you know. So where are we going when we die? Well, to Sheol, awaiting resurrection. So it's very curious in some sense how they are attacking this doctrine and trying to say that this is not true and that and all that. Yeah, it's just interesting for sure. And of course, in regards to the doctrine of hell, the King James Version have issues. I'm actually not sure if the Geneva Bible have the same issues as the King James Version. I can't remember if I checked that. But in any case, you have one word in Hebrew, that is translated into 3 different things in the so-called Old Testament, in the scriptures of, the Tanakh, the Torah and the prophets. And it's translated as grave, hell, and pit. So you have one Hebrew word being translated to 3 different things. Three English words. And then you go to the New Testament, and there you see Gehenna being translated as hell. And Gehenna is the equivalent to the lake of fire. And the lake of fire is not the same thing as the realm of death. So you get it all, you see in the book of Revelation where the realm of death is cast into the lake of fire. So again, there's 2 different entities, and then Christians tend to mix it up and get into doctrinal problems, But again, if you find a King James Version where you have the Strongs, just look hell up, for example, and find the Strong's number, search on it again, and then you see it's translated to 3 different things. Then you can go out in the New Testament and check out in regards of Gehenna, or search for the word hell and see what actually is behind that in regards of the Greek word, which is Gehenna. It's a place in Jerusalem, outside Jerusalem, was a place they burned things off and all that. You can still go to Gehenna in our days if you go to Jerusalem. Anyway, you can walk in Gehenna. Anyway, as I see it, it seems like Yeshua was using it as a way of showing, in regards of the lake of fire. And, it was a place for burning things, as I understand it, trash, and I think there also was some actually idol worship at some point in I'm not entirely sure, but I think there was something in regards of idol worship at some point as well in the biblical history. But anyway, getting off topic here. So very ferocious in South Gaul, the tortures of the victims endured without flinching almost surpasses belief. Tortured from morning till night, Blandina, a female slave, would only exclaim, "I am a Christian, among us no evil is done." Interesting. "I am a Christian, among us no evil is done." I think we could learn a lot from some of these people, we tend to have looking at the Christians in our days, and including myself, really have some issues, we have a lot of work to do in regards of getting us more, in the right direction in some sense. So it's just, we're still, it seems like the Christians are taking the world into the churches instead of, why would the churches take the world into the churches? Just to get people into the churches. You can see that they have rock concert in the churches and abominable worldly things in the churches to lure the young in the churches. And I'm like, they're taking the churches, they're taking the world into the churches to become like the world, but the church shouldn't be like the world. That's the whole point of a congregation. We shouldn't be like the world. And yet they are, it's just so sad, a rock concert, this Yeah, it's just weird. I think it's really weird. It just seems to getting worse and worse and worse. And of course, again, looking at some of the documents saying that the sheep would be turning to wolves. Yeah, well, it's very sad to see what is going on in our days for sure. Anyway, Septimius Severus, 193 to 211, this persecution was very severe, but not general. Egypt and North Africa suffered most. In Alexandria, many martyrs were daily burned. Oh, it was the other city was Alexandria in regards of the Sunday thing. It was both Rome and Alexandria that first seemed to have, been doing the Sunday thing. Many martyrs were daily burned, crucified, or beheaded. Among them, Leonidas, the father of Origen. In Carthage, Perpetua, a noble lady, and her faithful slave, Felicitas, torn to pieces by wild beasts. And of course, in regards of the Mohammedans, if you look at history, how the Mohammedans, what areas the Mohammedans took over, well, there were Christian areas, the whole of North Africa were Christian, and then the Mohammedans came, and the same thing in regards of the, I don't know how many of these Christians were turning to idols and images and all this. Again, maybe God punished these Christians for turning to idols. I don't know, but, it's very, it just shows the, anyway, back to, it's just sad. It's just sad to see that, how much Christianity is left in regards of Egypt, for example, all the whole of North Africa. Not much. Maximum 235 to 238. In this reign, many prominent Christian leaders were put to death. Origen escaped by hiding. Okay. Decius 249 to 251, resolute, determined to exterminate Christianity. His persecution was extensive with the empire, and the violent multitude perished under the most cruel tortures in Rome, North Africa, Egypt, Asia Minor. Cyprian said the whole world is devastated. Yep. There we go. So here we see Rome, North Africa, because, there was a lot of Christians in North Africa as well. Egypt, of course, and Asia Minor, that's nowadays Turkey, and you can see the Holocaust of the Holocaust of the Assyrians. I've just seen a documentary on that, and there was not only the Assyrians, it was also there was three groups, I think, that was persecuted in Turkey in World War One. Pretty much wiped a huge amount of people away, out, and killed them. Awful images of the images I saw in regards of it. Very sad. And in the documentary that is focusing primarily on the Syrian Christians, they say have turned Catholic or Orthodox, I think. Most of them have now turned Catholic and Orthodox. And I'm like, oh, that's bad. That's bad. It's like going to the devil in some sense, and the whorehouses. I'm not sure what the original faith of the Assyrians was, if they were committing, if they were, how the original, if they were not, bowing down and kissing images and statues and all that, and images, icons and all that. I don't know how they're, if they had the same problems. But again, the Antichrist wants full control, and he'll do whatever means is possible, to get his work done. So a lot of people were killed, sadly. So anyway, let's see here. Valerian 253 to 260, more severe than Decius, he aimed at the utter destruction of Christianity. Many leaders were executed, among them Cyprian, bishop of Carthage. It's also funny well, maybe not funny, but well, not funny. It's just an expression, right? But it's very funny how people will say, oh, you don't have more information on this and that and all that. Well, the Christians was persecuted and the documents was burned. So, looking at how much we actually have still, it's pretty much amazing since, that the Christians have been hunted by Rome and the Mohammedans and the Jews. In the beginning, the Jews hunted, So, looking at how the devil has persecuted the Christians, and then, the Mohammedans will come and the Jews will come and say, oh, this and that. And, there's, what will you do? There's a mistake here and there. For example, if you're using the Greek manuscripts of the New Testament, well, if you hadn't persecuted the Nazarenes and burned their documents, you could have read it in Hebrew, But no, you persecuted and burned their documents where the name of God apparently was in, because that's one of the reasons why we know that they burned these documents. But it seems like there are some interesting new information in regards of Hebrew documents. But of course, it's not to the public yet. Apparently, it's to the scholars, right? You always don't get it out to the public. No. We need to have these scholars look into it, and then years and years goes by, and then it comes out to the people, right? Like the Dead Sea Scrolls took a long, long time before it actually got out to the public. Anyway, and only got out to the public because there was one man that thought this should be public, and he pretty much made them public. Anyway, so many leaders were executed, among them Cyprian, Bishop of Carthage. Again, we have lost a lot of things in regards of Asia Minor. I think we can thank Rome for that in regards of censoring a lot of things. Diocletian, 284-305, and maybe they have some of the documents in their, library. It's a pretty huge library they have there, as I understand it, but, as I understand it, it's not easy to get access to the documents they have, so, the last imperial persecution and the most severe coexistence with the empire. For 10 years, Christians were hunted in cave and forest. They were burned, thrown to the wild beasts, put to death by every torture cruelty could devise. It was a resolute, determined, systematic effort to abolish the Christian name. And this is 284 and 303 to 305. It's interesting to see some of the tools that the Catholic Church have used to torture. You look at these torture things and you're just thinking to yourself, how could anyone come up with these torture devices? It really has to be some demonic force behind these things. It's just the most most wicked torture ways. It's just. Just if you want to see some of the most disgusting ways they tortured people, just go on the internet and search on it. How can a church or a system like that say it's Christian? I don't think it's Christian either. I think the Roman Catholic Church have discounted itself as Christian long ago, wolves in sheep clothing, that's what they are. And I have no idea why Christians are listening to this lunatic institution, It's total lunacy, It's just total abomination, Anyway, let's see here. The catacombs of Rome, vast subterranean galleries commonly... I need to get this, okay. Vast subterranean galleries, commonly 8 to 10 feet wide, 4 to 6 feet high, extended for hundreds of miles beneath the city, used by Christians as place for refuge, worship, and burial in the imperial persecutions. Christian graves are variously estimated at between 2 million and 7 million. More than 4,000 inscriptions have been found belonging to the period between Tiberius and Constantine. It seems like there was a lot of slaughter in Rome, cause it is the hall of Revelation, so drunken by the blood of the saints, so it wouldn't be a surprise, would it? The hall is riding all 7 heads, right, of the beast. So she was already there before Christianity. She just evolved, as far as I can see, into so-called Christianity. But she's still a pagan church. Anyway, so here we go. Church fathers. Okay, this is in regards of Polycarp. Or did we get the right? Yep. So this is 870 page. Church history, church fathers. Polycarp, 69 to 156 AD, pupil of the Apostle John, Bishop of Smyrna. In the persecution ordered by the emperor, he was arrested and brought before the governor, and when offered his freedom if he would curse Christ, he replied, 86 years have I served Christ, and he has done me nothing but good. How then could I curse him, my Lord and Savior? He was burned alive. That's Polycarp. He was burned alive, I think, in Rome. And they had to sting him, or what do you call it, pierce him as well, because the fire didn't really, they had some problems with the fire, if I remember correctly. There's a document on that if you want to read that. And again, that shows also, it seems like they kept the Sabbath, because it talks about the preparation day, if I remember correctly. And the preparation day, well, that's the day before the Sabbath. So it seems like they, had things from, the Jewish so-called things, right? Ignatius, 67 to 110 AD, a pupil of John, Bishop of Antioch. The Emperor Trajan, on the visit to Antioch, ordered Ignatius to be arrested himself, proceeded at the trial, and sentenced him to be thrown to the wild beast at Rome. En route to Rome, he wrote a letter to the Roman Christians, begging them not to try to procure his pardon, that he longed for the honor of dying for his Lord, saying, may the wild beast be eager to rush upon me. Okay, if they be unwilling, I will compel them. Come crowds of wild beasts, come tearing and mangling, racking of bones and hackling of limbs, come cruel